that music coming through?
Yes, it is.
All right.
Your ass! You will not laugh. You will not cry. You will learn by the numbers. I will teach you. Now get up!
Good evening, friends. It's Friday, which means it's time once again for another enlightening episode of Hobbservations on Roads to Liberty, part of the Think Liberty Network. That's think-liberty.com for all of your freedom posting needs. Think-liberty.com, or swing on over to roads, 2liberty.com, and our merch. Give us your money. We could really use it. Also, you can find us on just about any podcasting app there is. I think we're on pretty much all network on your favorite podcasting app. Tonight, it's a Hobbs and Ben episode, a Ben and Hobbs episode. We're going to be discussing a meme that I shared about 3 weeks ago. Well, not really discussing the meme so much as using it as kind of a jump-off point for, I don't know, Ben, this was your idea, so would you say this is more of a mindset and skill set versus gear acquisition, or how do you want to frame this?
Well, I was kind of hoping Justin with Bearded Liberty to be here, but he ghosted us for some reason. So negative shout out to him. But I'm gonna throw the meme up here. so everybody can see what we're talking about.
Yep.
And
Go ahead.
I'll pop us down so everybody can get a good look at it. And for people listening on the podcast, sorry about that. It's a Boogaloozer and Rural Defender is
Right. Yes. It's a Virgin v Chad meme.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Virgin Boogaloozer Goon versus the Chad Rural Family Defender. And I wanted to talk about how the boog has evolved from a bunch of guys in Hawaiian shirts to a gray man is the term I think you used. And I looked it up, and I kind of came to the gray man theme for gear on my own. But I think it's a right way to go with everything. Just from my observations of what's happened with the boog, and you were involved with it. I was kind of around the edges of it. I was hoping Justin be here because he was in the thick of it. But I think I titled the stream "F for the boog." Maybe the boog's dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's possible. I don't really think that the boog is dead so much as due to the social media silencing of many of the more prominent members, and in their place rising up has been a new set of I guess the intellectual heavyweights or thought leaders of the whole movement. It has kind of taken on two distinct branches, and there are two people that I would actually like to get on the show if I could ever figure out how to reach out to them that kind of embody the two separate branches, and that is Mike Dunn and a guy who goes by Magnus Panvidya. And Mike Dunn and Magnus were both interviewed on the Alex Jones show last week. And they both laid out, what it is that they're after. And Mike Dunn is, from what I gathered on his interview, he is fully embracing the accelerationist. He's talking about, we need a revolution. We need civil disobedience of onerous gun and carry laws that can be expected to escalate to violence. Something needs to happen. And Magnus was kind of in the opposite camp, where he is more willing to reach out to people that one would not typically associate with Second Amendment. And he's done actually a pretty good job reaching across the aisle to people like Black Lives Matter chapters in his, and even some of the less communist chapters of Antifa. And in his interview with Alex Jones, he actually had a gal who is part of an Antifa chapter in the Seattle area on. And unbeknownst to me, apparently there are some reasonable people who consider themselves members of Antifa.
Well, somebody posted Mike Dunn as a Fed. I mean, he did kind of just come out of nowhere. And that's a real problem that the boog didn't realize from the get-go, is anything you do is going to be chock full of feds. Mm-hmm. That's why I didn't get involved much. Those guys are starting that Discord server, just inviting anybody who said they wanted in on it. I was like, well, that's going to be a shit show. It's anything they do is going to be infiltrated at this point. Mm-hmm. That's why, to go back to that Boogaloozer versus Rural Chad, the guy who organizes his local group is going to be way more effective in anything than the Boogaloozer on Discord or organizing things over the internet.
Yep.
You might be saying, well, Ben, what about the Michigan guys that organized locally and tried to kidnap their governor? Well, I think they reached out over the internet too, and that's where they found their feds at.
Yeah. And as well as I do, because you're here for all of these shows, even though you're in the background, and that's one of the things that Sam Culper is always telling is stay local. do local things, reach out, do your IRL networking. Don't rely on the internet. Don't rely on social media and Discord and Facebook and all these other things, because you are going to, if you don't get infiltrated by, an actual asset within your circle, you are at least going to be monitored.
Mm-hmm. And to bring back to that meme, the Boogaloozer, he just is into Gucci kit, doesn't really have any practical skills. The rural Chad knows his local area, has real skills that he could barter with people for. But I don't hear a lot of talk about that in Boogaloo groups. I guess I've started to distance myself a little bit. I don't know if you still hear any chatter about that.
You know what? With most of them being taken off of Facebook, and the ones that are still around, obvious honeypots for people to get into some
Right.
shit or get some FBI foils, FBI plot type of stuff. I haven't really heard a whole lot. I mean, I still occasionally text Justin and Mark, talk to you, and talk to Lyman, and talk to some of the other. And yeah, what Proctor there just said, seems like a lot of Boog is like a gear club. Yeah, and that is the fancy Gucci gear, or the roast my kit meme, or all that stuff. Guys like Justin and Mark, when they started TBL, the spicy memes and the gear club type stuff, and the comparing, what you have to other people else, they were using that like a draw. That was the bait on the hook. And then once they get you in, that's when you can talk about, okay, we're not here just to flash off Gucci kit. We're here to talk about, the Constitution and individual liberties and things like that. And the ironic thing, and sad thing, is that with the social media silencing of people like Mark and Justin, and to a lesser extent the shadow bans that we got and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
is that type of discussion went away. And then you have the gear club pages, and then you also have the acceleration to shitheads like Mike Dunn that are now rising to the top. So you have what essentially is a bunch of neckbeards with too much money, and assholes that are going to get us all in trouble are the ones that are left. And that's what Facebook says they were trying to avoid, was the people wanting to commit violence. But we know that they want something to pop off.
Well, and I don't understand the acceleration is, and part of my thinking that the Boog is dead is during the Antifa riots, when they would take over, they basically took over an entire city. They took over the police station, they took over the city hall. Nothing happened. I mean, the city a week later running just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the QAnon storming the Capitol. Here you have a group took over the entire Capitol. Nothing happened. I mean, I've always thought so, and I guess that just makes it apparent that the size of and scope of this machine is so huge that it's just not going to fall apart no matter what. That's why I came to the conclusion that it's never going to fall apart. Also, you have the consent of the governed too. I mean, so some group takes over the Capitol. If the majority of the United States is like, okay, you took over the Capitol, you're not my leader, it's not going to happen. You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I do. And, you can add on top of that the fact that as soon as all of that happened, people are comparing it to a new Pearl Harbor, or comparing it to 9/11, or any of these other just completely asinine comparisons that they were saying that the January 6th riot was. And a sizable portion of the population is embracing that fully. So you're not going to be able to, they've done such a good job of demonizing and slandering anybody that puts on a pair of camo pants and a Hawaiian shirt as being like the reincarnation of the or whatever, that if they were to do something like bust into the Capitol and put the Speaker of the House in zip cuffs or something, then they would be taken out to the Washington Mall, publicly hanged, and a sizable chunk of the population would cheer it. They'd see them as terrorists.
And if you're gonna have a revolution, you can't half-ass it like those guys did. I mean, I don't know what their plan was once they got in there, but anytime you try and overthrow or break up any portion of the government, it doesn't happen. It just heals itself and it becomes even stronger. So anything that'll never happen again. I hate to say never, but something like that, there's no way that'll ever happen, anything close to that ever again. That was a one-off. The government adapts to it. Working inside the government, people don't understand how resilient a government institution is. Anytime something goes wrong, it looks at how it went wrong and it corrects it. You have to look at government as an organism. It's self-healing. It adapts to changes and prevents itself from being broken up. So all that stuff that's happened with Antifa, kind of almost overthrowing something, there's going to be a whole group of people in place that look at that situation, make sure it never happens again. Same thing with the QAnon storming. They're going to look at how that happened, make sure it never happens again. And every time you half-ass something like that, it just gets stronger.
Yeah, I agree. And saying that, kind of parenthetically, the fact that the government is so good at self-preservation and so adaptive and so quick to change whatever needs to be changed in order to meet its own goals really reinforces my idea that a lot of what they do that seems to us to be stupid and have really negative knock-on effects to guys like you and me, but is only used to increase their power. It really reinforces my idea that nobody who can rise to that position of power is that wrong that consistently by mistake.
Yeah, people always think that, all our politicians are idiots. Well, you don't, and you hit the nail on the head there. You don't get to that level of government by being dumb.
Yeah.
Those people have done the right things to get where they're at, and they've done the right things within the apparatus to get to that point. And if you're at that level of government, you're not going to want to tear it apart. That's for sure. Those are people that are part of the system, and their job is to maintain it.
Yeah. Another saying that I had from a long time ago was that our government is occupied either by a pack of ambitious idiots or people possessed of pure unbridled. And the more that things
Pure
like
unbridled, what? You broke up there for a second.
I said pure unbridled evil. Ambitious evil.
What's that Mark Twain quote? Never assume malicious, or what is it? Never
ascribe to malice what can be explained by stupidity.
Yeah. And my experience is most people in government aren't malicious. They're just well-meaning idiots. No, it's very rare that you run across a truly evil type person. Usually they're just misguided. Even AOC, I don't think she's evil. She has different values and she's misguided, but she's not evil.
Well, I think we'll have to agree to disagree on.
You think she's evil?
I don't know about her. I think that there was an expose when she first won office that she might just be stupid, but she was put into that position by people pulling her strings behind the scenes. She's not smart enough to get into that position without a little help.
I don't know. You have to look at her district. I mean, she could cover. Her district was small, I'm sure she had some people helping her, but it's not like most other congressional districts where some no-name just beating the streets could get elected to office. It was like it was like 10 square blocks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like if I wanted to run for Congress and I've got to cover, 400 square miles. There's no way I could knock on every door in 400 square miles. But 10 square blocks, you just knock out a couple apartment buildings a day talking to people. And it could happen. And I'm sure she has somebody she's beholden to, but I think it was just one of those ideal circumstances where everything aligned just right that people elected somebody. They were sick of it was an old white man from a minority
Yeah.
majority district, and here you got a young Hispanic female who went out and talked to every person in her district pretty much.
Yeah. I think the guy's name was Joe Cronin, who was the incumbent that got beat in the primary or whatever. Oh, we got
quite a few comments over here. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got a Michaela Volta says the government adapts, they encourage and set that up. There's no way those people just walked into the Capitol without hardly any resistance. They needed that to push the agenda. Yeah, agreed. There was video of the Q shaman, the idiot with the buffalo headdress, walking around the Senate chambers, basically being shown around by one of the Capitol Police security guards there. There's video of the Capitol Police moving the barricades out of the way for the crowd to move in. I mean, yeah, the whole thing, the Capitol Police were like half staff that day, and they knew something was going to happen.
Well, regardless of whether they let him in, that'll never happen again. I mean, no. So why wasn't that an opportunity for some other group could have been involved there and marched into the Capitol and, taken over the government building.
Yeah.
They could have piggybacked on those guys to get in there, but there's no chance that'll ever happen again.
No,
even if they were let in by Capitol Police, that situation will not present itself ever again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's more federal troops in Washington D.C. now than at any point in history.
Well, and I said I haven't met anybody. I think I might agree that Hillary Clinton probably is definitely evil. Somebody commented. I think that it's a rare circumstance that somebody is genuinely evil. I think Dick Cheney is probably genuinely evil as far as being involved in government.
Yeah, those two are definitely pretty high up there on the evil meter.
People like to throw Nancy Pelosi, she's evil. I think Pelosi's just a well-meaning idiot. Nobody's evil like Clinton and Cheney.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. So if you want to, we can kind of go through some of the points on that meme.
Oh, sure.
So it's basically a 1-for-1 compare and contrast. Let's see here. It's like 3, 5, 7, 9, 10 for the Boogaloozer Goon, 2, 4, 6, and 8 for the Chad Rural Defender. So
I've got it up here.
Yeah. So so over here it says no family or kids and will die alone and forgotten for the Boogaloozer.
Boogaloozer.
Yeah. I can honestly say that I am not in that camp. And when you first suggested this, I want to say that reading that, I was like equal parts validated and attacked, because there's some from each category that I fall into. So over here, InstaBio says OG Goon Trap Lord Operator 100 100 100, actually a customer service associate Costco, whereas whereas the Chad Rural Defender is the beloved father and member of his community. See long after he's gone.
That's the thing. Get involved with your community. Just volunteer. I do a lot of volunteer work, and it seems like I run if you start volunteering, you run into the same group of people over and over. It's kind of weird. It's the same group of people that are volunteering and building up the community. Don't be the boogaloozer. I mean, go find out, join a community board or something. Get your name out there, volunteer in your community. Don't be an edgelord on the internet.
Yeah, or better yet, do both. Because
Yeah, you could do both, I guess.
being an edgelord on the internet is not exactly a bad thing. So the one that I think was probably something that I've been saying for a very long time, and I don't practice what I preach when I say this is the Boogaloo Dragoon is urbanite. His own home is a threat to his existence. Now I live in Grand Island, which is a city, but it's still a city. Right. And I've been criticizing cities since I got out of the army, man. It's too big of a city for me, and it's like 50,000 people. I hate living here. I hate living with like on top of each other and shit. I can't imagine what it would be like living in a place like LA or New York or Washington DC. I'd want to fucking jump out of a building.
Yeah, if you're living in a city, you're not going to be any sort of survivalist. I'm sorry. You're just going to end up washed away in the tide of urban goons looking to take all your shit when society falls, if that happens.
Yeah, that's the thing where if you do live in a city and you can't get out, my number one bit of advice to you would be to not necessarily invest in a bunch of gear and shit, but invest your time in having a network set up so that if something would happen that would necessitate you to get outside of the city with the maximum amount of effort, to get a head start on it as much as possible. And that's where the intel collection and police scanner and things like that would really come in handy. You know, being friends with somebody in the local police or fire department to give you a heads up, like, hey, you might want to pack your family up and head for the hills.
Yeah, power fills a vacuum. So, if shit really happened and there was a power vacuum in cities, there's going to be something that's going to step up, and it's probably going to be cartels or what have you. Mm-hmm. It's going to be same shit, different day. You just have a new king over you in a city, I'm sure. But instead of the shitty city government, you're going to have some drug cartel or whatever running the city at that point.
Yeah, and even right now with a fully functioning government, you've got some cities that have entire sections that are essentially no-go zones where you don't conduct business unless you have the blessing of the local, mafia boss or cartel kingpin or whatever it may be.
And I'm not saying that's a worse situation. Even, I guess, I don't know. You probably pay less taxes under a cartel kingpin than you would for. There might be less violence even too, because the penalty for a lot of things will be death. I don't know. You have to weigh your options there, I guess.
Getting beheaded or dismembered or shot in the back of a head is it's quite the deterrent.
Yeah, there might not be as much a homeless problem then in those large cities with a cartel running things. I don't know. So let's see. Next up, I like this one. On the Chad Rural Defender, served in the military in his youth, doesn't base his entire personality off of some wannabe operator identity.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, you do see a lot of people that were in the boog that were ex-military members, and they think that their 3 years as a cook, some type of higher knowledge. That's just not true. You sign the dotted line investment papers, the heavens don't open up and bestow some type of knowledge upon you. That's stuff that you have to learn. And I'm not saying not that way either. I was a fucking pogue. I don't know how to, kick doors and take names and shit.
Well, I think just the fact that I was in the Guard for 10 years as a medic, and most people, if somehow it comes up, they're like, "Oh, I never even suspected you were in the military." I take that as a compliment. I don't like those people that are running out there with their grunt style and what's the other ones, black rifle coffee t-shirts on or whatever. What's that dude's name that runs that? Matt Best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That dude's
Those
funny
people
though.
Yeah. I mean, those people that they get out and it's like they're still in. It's just kind of weird to me.
Usually the people who do that are the ones who bitched about being in the military the loudest when they were in. And then they get their ETS papers. Oh, I'm free. I don't have to do fucking military anymore. And then they get out in the civilian world. And they're like, shit, now I have to develop a personality.
Right?
Yeah.
They walk around with their veteran hat on or whatever. So
yeah. Well, I'm poking fun at him just as much as you are, but I wear camo pants everywhere because that shit is comfortable. I
mean, there's some stuff in the military that's just, especially the winter gear.
Oh yeah, my big winter coat right now is an M65 Arctic parka that's probably older than I am.
There you go.
I got it at a gun show for like $35.
I'd kill for one of those wool sweaters. Let's see. What was the other features? Soft feminine features from decades of plastic materialism and soy consumption. Versus the rural Chad defenders, rugged barbaric physique from organic diet and years of hard work on the farm.
Yep.
Never, a guy that does manual labor every day versus some dude at the gym, they're going to be way stronger than that guy. I work at a telecom company, and it's a lot of manual labor, climbing towers, stuff like that. And we had a guy start down there who he was a weightlifter, and I could outlift that guy on almost everything. It was like these gym guys are just show pony muscles. They're good for lifting weight in one direction, but any practical usage, manual labor dad bod, somebody said.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, my dad was a farrier. He shoes horses. I say farrier. Most people don't know what that is. I say shoes horses, and they think I say shoot horses. No,
he was a sadistic son of a bitch.
He put horseshoes on horses' feet. That's what he did. And he's got beer gut and everything like that. But my God, if I tried to do what he did, like, I'm 36 now, and he was working harder at 60 than I do now. And it's like the position that he'd have to shoe in was like in a half squat, bent over at a 45-degree angle.
Yeah.
And my dad's hands were like a rack of bananas. and I swear to God, the guy could probably deadlift 1,000 pounds if he put his mind to it, just because that was his work position, was in that.
But he didn't look ripped, probably.
No, he had a beer gut and, just like a regular guy or whatever. But, the dude was strong. And the scariest words that my mom would ever utter when I was a child was, "You just wait till your father gets home."
Oh, shit. That's when it went down.
Because that rack of bananas was going to be upside your ass when that happened. But yeah, it's that manual labor and working hard. There was one time when he was having chest pains. He thought he was having a heart attack. And so he went to the hospital, and he was in his 40s, and they did all the tests on him. And they said, "Well, Mr. Hobbs, your heart is healthier than somebody half your age. You're just stressed out because you're working too hard." So he had to take a weekend off. First one in like 20 fucking years.
Those fucking teenage Hobbs boys doing it to him.
Maybe.
But I don't know how you get a virgin Boogaloo's or goon to the Chad Rural Defender on manual labor. I mean, I don't know what an urbanite could do around to build up those real man bod muscles over their soy physique.
It's anybody's guess.
Move out to the country, I guess. Start a garden and do some manual labor. Which one should we hit next year?
Let's see. Hey neighbor, want some fresh butter? My wife made too much. I'll trade you for some eggs. That goes into that community thing that we were just talking about, was, you know, being a part of your community and talking to people.
You know, and that's something where I really relate to that one. I can get about anything anybody will eat. I mean, you want homemade cheese, I'm your guy. you want some grass-fed beef, goat, farm-raised chickens, I know where to get them. You know, get to know your community and know where you can get all those things without having to go to the market. You know, what do we got here? Whoa, we got some comments. I'm Boog. Y'all have no idea what you're talking about. All right, right there, we know you're fucking bullshit. We love to hear why, Brandon. And we had do concrete troweling from Benjamin Dover over here. That would be for getting that dad bod physique. But yeah, you know where to find stuff in your local area, because you know your supply chain, if it's not there, what are you going to do? Are you going to know who to go to get corn, wheat, whatever? That's your staples that you need to survive on. If shit falls apart, you know a guy that can get you dairy or eggs. Figure it out. You know, I could lose my total market supply chain tomorrow, and I know somebody where I can get dairy, eggs, beef, grains, grow my own veggies. I wouldn't give a shit if the supermarket closed up. I have my own supply chain. That's that Chad Rural Family Defender there versus the Bergen Boogalooser.
Yep. Yeah, that's something that I need to do, just because I'm out here in farm country too, and I know like dairy farmers, I know beef ranchers and all that stuff, but I don't know them well enough that I think I could like pull up into their driveway one day and be like, "Hey, Hy-Vee just shut down. Do you think I could get a deep freeze full of beef and some eggs and stuff?" They'd be like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, if you can, I mean, chickens aren't that hard to raise. Even if you're in an urban area, there's no reason not to have some chickens.
Yeah.
You know, you get 3 or 4 chickens will give you more eggs than you could ever eat. They're not that hard to take care of. If shit goes sideways, you've got 4 chickens you could kill that would get you by, 3 or 4 weeks, maybe, if you ration out your protein on them, use every bit of them. That's more than somebody else will have.
Yep.
So let's see. Next one. Let me hide the overlay here because I can't see all of it. We have entire community works together to protect their home and provide for their needs in times of need. People like him will survive long after modernity is gone. That's just like what I was saying. You know, my grocery store could close up and I wouldn't care. Brandon over to people have to talk. Good luck with your 11 viewers. Good luck with your 0 viewers, Brandon. Spent $750 for Tiger Stripe cryas on eBay. The Virgin Boogalooser Goon.
Yeah, that's something that I can proudly say that I've never done. I have not spent a ridiculous amount of money on outdated Gucci patterns, although I have been tempted.
And that gets into what I was talking about with the gray man.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I noticed from all these people at these protests and whatnot. If you're wearing all that gear, and if something goes on, that's just screaming, shoot me. I've got a bunch of stuff you could take.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like I packet to cover my CCW piece. I've got a bunch of pricey multicam stuff that will, which in some instances might be good, in some instances might not be good. But somebody over
Well,
here.
Gray Man looks like it's popular now. I'm noticing a lot of the tactical sites are moving towards that. Like T-Rex Arms has a chest rig that's really popular. That's easy to hide, blends in, carries everything you'll need. There's they may be getting away from wearing plates because you don't need plates if you're not a target, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Keep yourself so that in a crowd somebody's not going to decide you're the target, and you can move and react from anywhere at that point. If you're loaded down with plates and you have a big old backpack on and a Hawaiian shirt on, that sets you up as a target right there. Who's this Brandon dude? Boog is just an idea, and you just see if and put them in a box like you think you know them all.
I have a feeling that we've got a couple of people in here that, because we're using that meme as kind of our jump off point. Brandon, we're not shitting on the boog. Look what's in my background. What is behind it right there? Ben and I were very, very heavily involved with some of the eyes when it really started gaining a lot of popularity. We are pro boog. At the beginning of this, though, we were talking about how the focus and the emphasis of the Boogaloo has kind of shifted from being one where people were using spicy memes and kind of a gear club type of rhetoric to bring people of like mind into the movement as sort of the bait to get people really talking about things like individual liberty and the Constitution and getting this country back on its track. We're not criticizing the Boogaloo. We're on board with it. We like it. We like it in theory. The problem is, however, is that it got too big too fast. Social media came and put the boots to it, and now you've got shitheads out there that are saying things like, let's kickstart a civil war, and then you've got other assholes that are out there like licking the boot, which is the exact opposite of what the boog is. So I hope that to the two people out there that thinks that we're taking a dump on the big igloo, no, that's not what we're doing here. It's just a funny meme that we're using as a point.
Yeah, this guy here, the Urbanite, love the assumptions made. Seems like a very big lack of information. Ever try asking an actual boog any questions? Dude, we're not the Guardian. I don't know what. Try asking a boog any actual questions. You like to flaunt unintelligent banter. I mean, it's great we're getting engagement from these people. Check out our stuff. Yeah, it means it's pushing it out to people. Check out our stuff. I don't understand what the virus is saying. Urbanite. It sounds like he feels attacked because we're showing the Boogaloos are Urbanite.
Yeah. Like if you live in a city, like I don't know where you're coming from, dude. But like if you live in a city, but you're still on board with the boog, cool. Get some other people in your network. That's what we're trying to say here. It's not like the lone wolf in the middle of LA is going to get clapped by a gang.
Yeah.
Especially if he's running around in Gucci gear. And then guess what? Some fucking crackhead has your Cry JPC and he's going to do God knows what with it. But, we're not saying that Boogaloo guys are a bunch of like noodle armed urbanites. No, far from it. No. If you go back through our catalog, you're going to find our interview with the Libertarian presidential candidate Joe Jorgensen and 5 guys that were pretty heavily involved with the Boogaloo. Not me. I wasn't one of the interviewers. I was just the moderator. And that got us a hit piece article in The Guardian. So
Yeah, that's maybe a little on us. I forget that we keep getting new people who don't know what the fuck we're about.
Yeah.
Not to shit on the virus guy, but he doesn't know what we're about. He just assumes we're probably attacking boogaloo types, and God bless him for thinking he's part of the boog and we're attacking him and he stands up for him. But no, we're not shitting on anybody in the boog. We're mostly talking about how the movement has evolved more away from the boogaloozers, the Mike Dunns. And we've got the Chad Rural Family Defender, who you don't even hear about because he's out doing his thing, organizing his community and not getting shown in the media saying he's going to accelerate the government and be an accelerationist and overthrow the government, because that's what you should be doing. You should be organizing in your local community, getting to know your local area. Like Sam Colbert has told us on how many shows now, 2 or 3.
Yeah. Right. And the best thing about getting out and being the Chad rural defender and knowing your community and being about as self-sufficient as you possibly can be is that it doesn't matter if the government gets gigantically huge or falls apart tomorrow. You'll be able to point it out and say, hey, we don't need you. And that's what it's all be about, a revolution or overthrowing the government. It should be about showing the government that they're not needed. And think that for all of the talk of revolution, what this country needs is not necessarily a revolution so much as it needs a revival. About individual liberties and all of this other stuff. Well, we have our founding documents that lays out all of the things that the government is not allowed to touch. Our Constitution is probably the most perfectly worded founding document ever conceived by the mind of man. And our problem is not so much that it's failed us, we've failed it by forgetting what it says and what it means. Right?
Right. Yeah. Well, and I don't think if the government does fall apart, your enemy is not going to be the feds. If the government falls apart, your enemies aren't going to be the feds coming after you. It's going to be the dickheads in the next county over that are short on supplies, or even the next city over. Or if you're in an outskirts of LA, it's going to be the people in LA that have run out of shit, and now they're spilling out into the suburban areas. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that in any sort of that situation like that, the enemy isn't going to be the feds. It's going to be,
at least not initially. You're going to eventually going to have whoever steps into that power vacuum in the federal government. People are going to see the federal government as having a legitimate authority. You're going to get eventually a mobilization of troops or law to bring order back to the country. But right off the bat, it's going to be the people who just are trying to put food in their mouth.
Yeah, and that's why you need to be the rural Chad.
Yeah.
Well, boy, I guess we can keep hitting on this and see what else we can trigger people on. Or we hit everything on here.
Has a shitty mustache to look like that guy. Just looks like a peanut head. I've only had a mustache once and it was awful. No comment there.
I've got one now and it's nothing like that mustache. Let's see. Heard there was some trouble in the city. Shrugs.
Yeah. That's basically what you want.
Yeah. I mean, if there's a problem within a city, you don't want to be dependent on them for anything. I mean, why would the rural Chad care if the government fell?
He wouldn't.
I mean, can I post a pic of real boogs or question mark?
Well, you're on YouTube. I don't know if you can do that on YouTube. Can you? I've never seen picture comments on YouTube.
I'm going to guess it's probably a dick pic. I don't know.
Yeah, I just see like 6 horizontal black lines, so I don't know. I don't know what he posted there. I might have to check it out later.
We're getting some people from different areas. You know, maybe these are the people. Whenever something pops up, you know, the boogs that we know, and whenever something pops up like Boogaloo adherent does this, we're like, who the fuck are these other Boogaloo guys doing this shit? Is that who popped into our chat?
I don't know.
And nothing against you, Brandon. Maybe you're not that guy, but whenever we knew quite a bit of people that were active in it, and whenever some crazy Boogaloo person would pop up, nobody would know who the hell they were.
Yeah, although we did the crazy assholes up in Michigan that were thinking about kidnapping Gretchen Whitmer. I think we're fans of our page. Which, how are we still here? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, for those of you commenting in the YouTube, be aware we might be a honeypot. We don't know.
Yeah, it's the unwitting honeypot. You know, people are watching what we do here. Obviously, people that are not sympathetic to our viewpoints or whatever. But for the most part, other than a light shadow band coming up to the presidential election, they haven't really messed with us.
Yeah, I've never understood how we've passed everything. I mean, we've never been banned. We've been mentioned in international media.
Yep.
But somehow we're still here. Pretty sure nobody here's a Fed out of the three of us. I'm the most likely candidate. And
yeah.
I like how are you still around is right. Yeah, I know, Austin. We wonder that every time.
Yeah.
We've had so many people get kicked off Facebook that like our page. You know, that's my theory, is that we're a Facebook honeypot. So watcher beware.
Yeah, don't say anything that might get the feds knocking on your door in our chat, because that's on you.
Yeah, don't say anything about kidnapping your governor. You know, don't say crazy shit in here, because chances are somebody's watching it. Or if you ever wanted to say something funny to an FBI guy, throw it in here. They might see it.
Yeah,
Brandon Overton, y'all are funny. My bad for coming at y'all. No, good for you for standing up for Boogaloo guys. You didn't know.
Yeah, man. We appreciate the feedback, the discourse. It gave us something to talk about. You know, all that. And if you guys want to, like Ben said, if you want to say something to a federale or whatever, our guy's name is Darnell, and he's listening.
Yeah. Darnell's our federale. That's the name we've given him. Somebody said I had my device locked out off Instagram because of a fucking meme page. Well, funny thing, we had people getting kicked off of Facebook for a meme we made, but we didn't get a warning for the meme.
Yeah, they shared our meme and they got kicked off. We made the meme and we're still here. So
sorry, misunderstood. I haven't watched you guys much. Hey, no problem. Glad you're here to check us out. Let us know how you found us. That reminds me, we're getting towards the end of the show. Definitely feds though. Just you know, everybody, you should always assume anybody you're talking to in regards to this shit is a fed.
Right. Especially if they're pushing you towards doing some kind of violence, especially violence, but any kind of illegal activity. Like if they're like, hey, we should, sell cocaine to fund our Gucci gear habits or whatever.
Oh, what were those fucking ding dongs in Michigan? They were they were working with the PL. They were going to sell guns to the PLO or something. What did you hear that part?
One of them was talking about setting up a camp, a training, or either going to Lebanon to train with Hezbollah or bringing Hezbollah members in here or whatever. It's like, how fucking. And then Justin tells me the guy's gay. So it's like, those motherfuckers will throw you off a roof, dude.
Yeah,
Teaming up with Hezbollah, as bad as our government is, Hezbollah is much, much, much worse. Pro tip, don't team up with
don't team up with the Middle East against the United States government. That is not a good. Yeah, and that's a public service announcement for everybody here. Oh, Hamas. Yeah, he's right. It was Hamas.
Hezbollah, Hamas, one of those Durka groups over there.
Anybody encourage you to do crazy shit's probably a Fed. Probably I've seen stuff where I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? I think you're involved with this long enough, you're going to run across those Feds saying crazy shit. It's pretty easy to figure out who they are.
You got two brain cells to rub together. The person talking about doing crime is probably a Fed.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm going to throw it out there. We're getting towards the end of the show since we have a bunch of new people. And you're watching on YouTube. Comment on this most recent video, like it, subscribe to our page, and go check out roads, the number 2 liberty.com. And you could win a free shirt. It's for the month of February. Anybody who does that's entered. We have let me get that up here in the crawler, roads to the number 2 liberty.com. Go check out all the shirts we have, comment which one's your favorite, and we'll get you entered in a shirt drawing at the end of the month. Just let us know your size, just any sort of comment in the video, size, favorite shirt, and we'll get you entered.
Yeah, my personal favorite is Boog Girl.
Boog Girl, yeah, that's probably our best seller. There's a bunch of good ones on there. So those are custom made for us. You won't find them on any other sites. Some of these sites just throw up a bunch of the same shirts. Don't tread on me. Boy, every site's got that. Damn it, you guys done already? I came in late. Yeah, sorry. We started late. What were you doing? Yeah, I guess you have anything you want to wrap up with on our meme here, Hobbs?
I just wish Justin could have.
Yeah, sorry guys, we were gonna get Justin in here. He would have been a good one. Justin with Bearded Liberty. We tried to do this show for 2 or 3 weeks, and I didn't want to push it off any longer.
Yeah.
So we'll send Justin some hate messages on his YouTube page or something since he didn't drop in here.
Yeah. For those of you guys that have never seen any of our stuff before, the guy we're talking about, Justin, his YouTube channel is called Bearded Liberty. If you want to go look him up, he was one of the 2 boog line, which is the folks that made that flag, that awesome flag that I got behind me right there.
Yeah, and they were involved early, so they were they got to see the whole blow up of the movement and then the shutdown of the movement and everybody getting zucked and kicked off media and all that stuff. So check him out, Bearded Liberty. We'll try and get him on again. Thanks for all the new people stopping in. Hold on, we have if you aren't stupid, it's easy to spot them. Yeah, it's easy to spot the Feds. So thanks for checking us out. Hobbs, you want to close it out?
Yeah, just everybody head on over to either think-liberty.com, which is kind of our kind of our parent umbrella network that we're under. Go to roads, the number 2 liberty.com, which is our merchandise store. You can find us on pretty much any podcasting app. If you're watching this after the fact, that's not live, we do these shows live. This particular show is Friday at 9 p.m. Central. The other show that we do is Token and Hobbs, which is Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Central. That's a news, politics. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, other than that, thank you to all of our new viewers who decided to jump. Guys, I would also appreciate you guys spreading us around. Share the video, tell your friends or whatever. Oh, Scuba Guy 007, that's my buddy Gary. He feels left out. Oh, I'm sorry, Gary. I'm gonna give you a shout out right now.
You got to roast us to get mentioned, I guess. So
yeah. Or say something about spicy pickles. Yeah. So we'll be back on Tuesday. Me and Nathan Token. Tuesday, 9 p.m. Central. Watch live if you want to comment. We'll read them out. Talk about all the fun stuff. Thank you for joining us tonight.